What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to a couple of subscribers for showing love to the channel. Much respect to Kenneth Thomas for the $10 donation via the Cash App. He has a note saying, "Who's your top 10 role players?" Well, that sounds to me like a good playlist series. That might be a playlist series in the making. I think if I do a video, it's going to be too long. So I guess what I probably have to do is just make a 10-part series, top 10 role players. I don't think I've ever been asked that question before. Nor have I done a video talking about that. So that's a good series. So much respect to you for coming at me with that one, man. That was a very good suggestion. Also want to give a shout out to the brother Aram for once again showing love. The brother Aram loves the old school NBA, and he has a question for me. First of all, he donated $10 via the PayPal, so much respect to him. His question is, the 1987-88 MVP was, of course, Michael Jordan. Bird and Magic were second and third in MVP voting. I think this is one of the closest MVP votings in the NBA's history. When you get the time of your schedule, can you give us your opinion on if MJ was indeed the front runner? An incredible MJ year, with arguably Bird's greatest statistical year, and Magic was right there. Well, that indeed was one of the closer MVP votes when you talk about total points. They were the top three. Magic had 508 total points won. Bird 527 total points won. Michael Jordan 665 total points. But when it comes to first place votes, Michael won in a landslide. 47 first place votes to Bird and Magic, 16 apiece. At this time, Magic Johnson was 28 years old. Larry Bird was 31. Michael Jordan was 24. Now, I guess the question is, do I think that Michael Jordan should have won the MVP award that year? And I have to say yes. I think most of us would agree that he should have won it that year. And I'll tell you why. The year before that, if I'm not mistaken, he was second in MVP voting to Magic Johnson. Yeah, he was second. The year before that, Magic Johnson had 733 points total. Jordan 449. Bird 271. Magic had 65 first place votes. Jordan 10. Bird just 1. Now that year, Magic Johnson averaged, 23.9 points. So this is the first year I think Magic kind of really took over the offensive range more from Kareem, because this is when Kareem finally was beginning to show his age, the 86-87 season. Although he still was, I think he still averaged 23 points that year. I think. Let me think. Let me think about it before I go forward. No. That year, I think he averaged 17. 88, he averaged 14. 89, 10. It was 86 when he averaged 23 points. But this was when you could start to see Kareem, in practices. He was finally beginning to slow down. But that year, Magic averaged a career-high 23.9 points, 6.3 rebounds, 12.2 assists, 1.7 steals, on 52% shooting from the floor, and 85% from the free throw line. This is when the three-point shot still wasn't really a big part of the game, not quite yet. Magic was, by this point, I think he also was perceived as an improved defender. Now, Magic was never a shutdown first-team defense guy, but Magic early on in his career was even considered a bit of a subpar defender. Now he did lead the NBA in steals a couple of years, but a lot of that came because Magic used to gamble and get burnt. Sometimes, by gambling and going for steals, he would get a lot of steals, but he also got burnt defensively a lot. So Magic became more the disciplined defender. His steals went down, as you see, 1.7, but overall he became a better defender. Um, Jordan that year averaged 37 points a game, 37.1 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 2.9 steals, 1.5 blocks per game, on 48% shooting from the floor and 86% from the foul line. Now, what's different is when you go. Oh, also Magic team, the Lakers won 65 games that year, that was considered the best team of the Showtime era. Bird's team won 59 games. This was the year after the 67 win Celtics. They went to the finals but lost in six to the Lakers. Jordan's Bulls went 40 and 42 that year, so they still had a losing record. That's why I think Jordan deserved it this year. Um, let's start with Magic Johnson. Magic's numbers were down a bit. 19.6 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 11.9 assists, 1.6 steals. His shooting accuracy was down a tad, 49%, and his free throw was about the same, 85%. The Lakers won 62 games that year. They went 62 and 20. Now, ultimately, they did go on to repeat as champions. But there was always this controversy about the phantom foul called on Bill Laimbeer. Kareem shot free throws, and that left a bitter taste in Detroit Pistons fans' mouths still to this day. But you got the sense that Magic's season, while still spectacular, wasn't quite as impressive as the year before. Still impressive, but not as super impressive. They had narratives back then in the NBA as well, just not to the extent that they do today. Larry Bird, statistically, had the best offensive season of his career. That year, he appeared in 76 games. This was the last real great year of Larry Bird's career. He appeared in 76 games, averaged 39 minutes a night, averaged a career high 29.9 points per game. This is the most points ever averaged by a player, I believe, until Jason Tatum broke that mark recently. I think Tatum had a season averaging 30 points a game. Bird averaged 9.3 rebounds, 6.1 assists, 1.6 steals, just shy of one block, 52.7% shooting from the floor. And for the times, this was incredible to shoot 41.4% from three-point range, which he did that year, and 91.6% from the free throw line. And he also had 15 win shares that year. The year before that, Bird had 15.2 win shares. Magic had 15.9 win shares. Jordan 16.9. But Magic's win shares went down. Bird stayed about the same. Jordan skyrocketed. And also, as I said before, they won 59 games. Jordan, his scoring average dropped a bit to 35 a game. 5.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 3.2 steals, which is a career high for him. He's one of only few players to actually average officially more than 3 steals per contest and 1.6 blocks per game. If I'm not mistaken, I think that year Jordan averaged more blocks per game as a guard than 18 NBA centers. And I think at that time there were 25 NBA franchises because 2 had debuted that year. I know in 88, 89 it was the debut of the Magic, the Hornets, the Magic, the Hornets, the Heat, and the Timberwolves. I just sometimes forget which year is which, but two of those franchises debuted in '88. So that means it was 25 NBA teams. Because remember, when the Raptors and the Grizzlies joined the NBA in '95, that pushed it to 29 teams. So there's 25 teams that year. Jordan averaged more blocks per game than 18 out of 25 centers starting in the NBA. His efficiency went way up. He went from shooting 48.2%, which was tremendous and very good for a guard, especially a guard taking 27 shots a night as he did that year, 27, 28 shots a night. But his efficiency went from 48.2% to an absurd 53.5%. That's absurd. Absurd. Free throw percentage around the same, 84.1%. Then you look at the 21.2 win shares, which suggests that 21 of the 50 wins that the Bulls had were sorely due to Michael Jordan. It's a slightly flawed statistic, but statistically, that's what it's kind of saying. Like 21 of the Bulls' 50 victories, you could attribute to Michael Jordan solely. That's when you get win shares in the 20s, you're having an unbelievable year. The win total, I think, is what pushed him over the top because the prior years, the Bulls had losing records. The year before Mike got there, they were 27-55. His rookie year, 38-44. The year in which he missed 64 games, they went 30-52. But they were 9-9 in the games he played, but only 21-43 in the games that he missed. 86-87, they went 40-42. But at that point, gone were Quentin Daly, gone were Orlando Woolridge, gone was George Gervin, so he didn't really have much offensive help. So that necessitated Jordan having to score more points. But in '88, with the acquisition of a young Scottie Pippen, a young Horace Grant, even though they were in their infantile stages, but really the development of Charles Oakley and an improved, I think, bench and Jordan's exploits helped them to push them to 50 victories. So I think that's what was one of the deciding factors as to why Jordan won the MVP award that year. Plus, don't forget, it helps that he was slam dunk contest champion that year. I think for the second year in a row. And he won Defensive Player of the Year. He was an improved defensive player. Not that he was bad before. I would say he was above average before. But he worked on his defense to the point where he was considered the best defender in the NBA. And one of the best for the totality of the rest of his Bulls career. So winning that Defensive Player of the Year award, then winning 50 games, the improved efficiency, his all-around game. Those are factors as to why I thought Jordan should have won MVP. And justifiably, he won MVP. He deserved it. So tell me what you guys think.